planning. It just became the first day of the year.
Yep. But remember, I kept saying it's just too quiet. I kept saying that. We have several lives. And we talked about with our subs, family squad members, and everybody was like, yeah, it is.
So who is Shamsud Din Jabbar? Let's play this.
Good evening. I'm Shamsud Jabbar, property manager with Blue Meadow Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch. So I've taken those skills and applied them to my career as a real estate agent, where I feel like what really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator. So not only do I brilliantly market your property to make sure it gets sold as quickly as possible or gets leased as quickly as possible, but I'm also going to take every ounce of energy and putting it into negotiating for you and for your property to get the best deal that you can possibly get for it. So once we get to the closing table, all the I's are going to be dotted, all the T's are going to be crossed, everything's going to go off without a hitch, and that is my word that I'm giving to you as your real estate agent.
It's so funny is even before I switch to this next clip, this person and the person that we're looking at, that's what all this going on, I would have hired this dude to be my realtor.
Of course.
Like,
why would you think any otherwise?
And then how'd it go from this?
10 has been identified as 42-year-old Shamsud Din Jabbar, a U.S. citizen. The Ford electric vehicle was owned by another 42-year-old man from Houston, Texas. The truck had reportedly been rented out on Turo, and police are in contact with the owner who listed it for rent. The gunman was killed by police after he slammed a truck into pedestrians celebrating the new year, exited the vehicle, and started firing. The vehicle was reportedly carrying an ISIS flag and a chest with explosives inside it. Authorities investigating the mass casualty incident say the driver showed very intentional behavior after driving into crowds in the city's French Quarter before they got out and fired a weapon.
Wow.
On January 1st.
Well, he was always that person. I just don't see how you can be
even you saying you believe he was that person
prior
back then?
to the if you served in you served in the armed forces for 10 years. How do you be an armed service person and then go to being an ISIS terrorist suspect?
Personal, circumstantial, personal drama and issues in your personal life from a window of time that makes you seek darkness.
It's deeper than that, because
he sought darkness.
It's deeper than that. But what average person that's having problems in their personal life are going to go and want to be an ISIS terror person? No, I mean, how many? That's I don't believe it. I think it's deeper than that.
So let's see. Let's see what there was this clip by the news station, and there was some more information. And then we have one more clip. But why I think
go ahead.
Let's not over. We all want to over talk because I want to keep them.
I
want to keep them looking.
Right. I said
video of him from 2020 where he's describing his work as a real estate agent. He talks about spending 10 years in the military, working in IT. Officials confirmed he was in the Army. He grew up, he was born in Beaumont, Texas, and grew up there. He was a resident of Houston, Texas. I mean, in that video, you see him wearing a button-down shirt with a jacket, looking like a professional person, describing his career in a very articulate, coherent manner, and it's just hard to reconcile the individual that carried out the attack with that man. Such different profiles, you would think.
Do we have any information on what may have been going on in his life at the time? Anything from an interpersonal relationship or finances?
Absolutely. So he was married twice. In his second divorce, he filed for divorce in 2020. It took a couple of years to resolve, and during those proceedings, he talks about not being able to pay for the home. His former wife filed a restraining order against him to protect her and their child.
Okay.
or children, and that was actually granted. So clearly his life was starting to unravel after that video that we see from him in 2020. You know, in recent years, things started to go downhill. He had financial troubles. He also had sort of small run-ins with the law, driving without a driver's license, theft on his record. So he does have a record. It's not major crimes, it's not violent crimes, but he does have a record. And we're now piecing all of this together. We're trying to build a profile. The New York Times is reporting that he was a recent convert to Islam, so we're working on that.
And we know that there was an ISIS flag on the trailer hitch of the rented truck, rented through Turo, rented in Texas.
That's right.
Driven to Louisiana. We know that there was at least one improvised explosive device in the vehicle, more placed around the French Quarter. So what do we know about the fact that authorities definitively said at the press conference today they don't believe he acted solely, that he was not solely responsible?
Well, our sources tell us there is a video. There is video capturing multiple other people, 4 other people who potentially helped them, that investigators believe were accomplices. And our sources described to us that they were dragging the improvised explosive devices to place them. So we don't know exactly where that is, but we know that there were several placed in the French Quarter. There also were devices or parts of devices, precursors, as our sources call them, inside an Airbnb in the Laroque neighborhood of New Orleans, where we saw there was, quite a bit of activity. In fact, our producer down there, she said that she heard an explosion at the house. So much going on. Now we're also looking at a Las Vegas explosion. We're trying to figure out if there was any connection.
So real quick before we let you go, the multiple locations that we know are being investigated in connection with this include the Airbnb location in the Laroque neighborhood in New Orleans and the attacker's home in Houston, correct?
Correct. And then, of course, Bourbon Street, where he carried out the attack. In and around there were other explosive devices found in that neighborhood.
Other explosive devices.
So I'm going to say real quick before you want to take a deep dive.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so to me, it just seems as though his life started to unravel. However, how does a person go from being in this mindset, and then this is like the complete opposite, to go from being a military person and then now all of a sudden you're into this terror groups? That just, to me, the innate curiosity and the innate desire to be this destructive was already there. Absolutely. And then that situation that happened with his girlfriend or fiance or whoever she was, ex-wife, that was the fuel that ignited those inclinations and thoughts previously.
Absolutely.
Your average Joe Blow is not going to get angry with the wife and have all these traumatic stresses in life, regardless of what the situation is. Your life is just out of order. And then all of a sudden you want to join ISIS. That's just on a complete far end of the spectrum.
Do you, and just to piggyback on that and what the news reporting was saying, y'all look at this clip. It's not even really a clip. It's just showing y'all. I don't know if y'all remember, but when the border thing had opened up, and then this really kind of scared a lot of people, including myself. Like, not scared, but it really made me want to be alert. So y'all remember this? This was like maybe a year, 2 years ago, when the whole border thing opened up, when this dude came through. And this was one of the scariest things. Somebody put this clip up. And when they dropped this, I said, okay, we got some problems in my hand that we're not aware that's coming. This clip says, I don't know if y'all remember, so I'm going to play what he says, 16 seconds. The terrorist attack in New Orleans, Louisiana, is now confirmed as ISIS-affiliated attack. And it's believed he had 5 assailants with him. A known ISIS terrorist from how do you pronounce that? Jabbar?
Azerbaijan, maybe.
Who had crossed the border in early 2020 and was heard threatening U.S. citizens.
Early 2024.
24, threatening U.S. citizens, saying, "You will soon know who I am." He's still on the loose. This man was the one that made me skeptical and said, okay, you need to up your weapons. You need to stay away from large crowds. Because when he was saying that, listen, we looked at this. Let me see.
By the way, if you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're going to know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
And we let Joe Biden let these freaking people in. The man said and they're saying this clip shows they got his name and they're affiliating him, the same man. They're affiliating the same man that said, you're going to know who I am. Walking across the border, enjoying life, coming over here scot-free, saying you're going to know who I am when I call some threats on your land. And I just walk over and interview you and let you know what I'm about to do. That's messed up.
Yep. Is that? Oh, yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then on top of that, on this beautiful New Year's Day, you wake up to this.
That is something. Oh,
That's some batteries exploding in that thing.
Oh.
One more time.
Darn. Wow. That's horrible. Well, I kept saying it's too quiet. I just kept saying, man, it just seems like it's too quiet with all of the threats and things that people have been making even prior to Trump getting into office. It was already said in several reports, news stories, articles, is that Iran was already making threats against Trump before he even got in office, before he was elected. This was why he was running during his campaign. So now he's about to be inaugurated. He's about to be put in office. You know, it's like they need to have him in a bulletproof car all the time. It's like, you know, this is crazy. So what happens now? So I think there are things that people need to think about considering when they're out as a single person with your family, children. You have to be attentive and not walking around with your AirPods in and your earbuds in and la la land and not zoomed into your surroundings. Because no, I'm not saying walk in fear, but I'm saying raise your level of awareness, as we've been talking about this for the past 2 years. We've been talking about this ever since Trump was running, and you saw the things that was happening to him, that they were trying to prevent him from being elected. And now they're still doing things to try to get his inauguration slowed down, if not thwarted altogether. So, I mean, but we as citizens already knew that there was going to be some things based off of those of us that pay attention and can think and are able to zoom in. We've already been noticing things that's been going on. YouTube content creators have been reporting it, investigative reporters. You also have researchers and other reporters for certain news stations who are not afraid to be vocal and report the facts and truth. So all I can say is that pay attention. No, you're not walking in fear, but you need to pray and also be able to have and listen to God so you can be mindful and get the directions for you and your family. But pay attention when you're out, not just, walking around with your earphones on and lost in space.
There are too many things that are happening close together. We had these drone thingies that now mysteriously has almost like just vanished. We have this thing of they're saying what's coming from the bird flu. They're dropping this thing saying the Nordic virus. You got these terrorist attacks. People, if you don't see that you need to focus on God, get Christ Jesus in your life, store you some food, get you some weapons, but also make that money so that you can be highly successful and you can kind of avoid all this that's going on. Stay away from public places during, I'm not going to say just public places, but major events, Super Bowl, big events. I know I'm not saying being in fear, but now we're in the time that people they want the casualties to be when everybody's together.
They don't care about harming innocent people. They are the mind of a person who is insane. You can't wrap your mind around it. Why? Because you are sane. So you're not going to have the thoughts and you're not going to think like them. So you have to make sure you're thinking, putting yourself and your own family first.
Money is behind all this though. Did you know that? Every bit of these situations are money related. There's money behind all this. Money is what, and lack of, makes people do certain things. It's always tied to an income.
And also pure T hate. I feel like that.
Like what you said. Do you remember we used to watch? Remember Joker on when he did when the Joker said that one thing when he was Heath Ledger, he said some people aren't motivated by money or anything. Some people just want to see the world burn. Mm-hmm. That was a deep quote. And I was like, yo.
So, I mean, I can't say that all of these situations are money related. these groups have, disdain and hate for America. And
we just let them walk by and tell us y'all don't know what I'm about to do.
For its leaders and for its people. And the hate could go back, so far. It could go back to the Bush administration. It could go even back further than them. Things that we may not even be aware of, stuff that's happened and transpired in our own government. But nevertheless, it is time to be smart and really pay attention. We've already been forewarned. There were things that were prophesied, and people who are, men and women of God who have the gift of prophecy, the prophetic word, they have already been telling us things to pay attention to. So, now things are unfolding. Did we expect it was going to be the 1st of January? We didn't know. But we knew that there were some things that were coming down the pipeline. We just didn't know when.
Right.
Or what per se.
I believe that the tone of 2025 is being set. If you have the very first day of the year with massive disaster, I think we're gonna it's gonna see some things throughout this year, and you're gonna see a lot of people get successful, and you're gonna see a lot of things that are chaotic. Be on the successful side. Watch your back.
That's right, and stack your bread. Make choices so you can get ahead of the game. So when all of this is contained, or at least in a place where borders are secure, or there are some systems and places that can provide more security for our country as a whole, then you'll be able to say, well, I'm glad I put my money here, or I'm glad I was able to do this with my money, or I'm glad I saved this to be able to put to this. So you can make these types of decisions.
All right, y'all.
We love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Like it.
Go back. Make sure that you still subscribe. Make sure that your notifications turned on. We're seeing that things have been turned off, not at your hands. All right, man. We'll see you on the next one, man. Bye.